Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's 21st, 2026, and I'm here, of course, with Elijah Wine, my co-host. And Eli, we got a storm coming.
Yeah. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, everyone. And yeah, I mean, this storm said earlier this week, 1 to 3 inches, barely anything. Now they're saying it could be the worst snowstorm that we've had in a while. All I know is if stay home, relax. If you can watch the Olympics tomorrow at 8 o'clock, but I mean, and watch some good movies, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, not much going to do this weekend, I guess. But yeah, and let's kick it all off with the monologue sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. And before we even get to that, Diego comments and says, "Good morning, boys. Good morning, Diego. Thank you for tuning in. Very early for us." And Jim, the monologue's yours.
Okay. So, yes, there's going on, but what I keep reading, and of course, this whole Tony Clarkson week, and we had our picture, my picture with him, but it's about this looming lockout, and all indications are it's going to happen. And it's funny because I'm wearing my LA Dodgers quarters today because they're kind of maybe the reason this is all going to happen because we're seeing such a disparity right now in Major League Baseball. And, quite frankly, I think the owners themselves are to blame too because they've been paying these contracts out and the teams, the big market teams, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, they have the money to pay these guys. But the smaller market teams like Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and Washington and they're not able to compete, and that's what's going on. So um, the lockout is going to be strictly by the owners, but I blame the owners these salaries, and it's market teams out. And I don't know what the resolution is going to be. It's going to have wide ranging effects on a lot of people that handle the spring training, right down to the equipment managers. And this is going to be ugly. And I wonder if they start these negotiations now rather than waiting to the end of the collective bargaining agreement in December. But unfortunately, it's not going to, fortunately, it's not going to affect this season. But unless they can come to some high ground, and the one thing I do say, Eli, is if you have that kind of money to own a baseball team or any kind of franchise in sports, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to spend money to make money. And right now, the smaller market teams are getting the owners are still getting paid because of the revenue sharing and so forth and the TV rights. But right now, with the Dodgers and the payroll that they have, nobody can compete, and it's going to cause a shutdown. And it's quite possible that we could lose the entire 2027 Major League Baseball season if it doesn't get resolved. So I would love for people. I know it's a passionate topic for Brendan and so forth, but it's coming, and unfortunately, it's the sign of the times. But you can't have these ridiculous payrolls and then other teams like the Pirates have a $70 million payroll. So I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant, but I do know the numbers aren't working, and it's going to affect baseball starting December 1st, 2026.
Yeah, and all I know is these days, money and sports are just not aligning with each other. And I'm going to go to start with college sports, for example, before I get into the MLB stuff. If we look at college sports and the NIL right now, look how it's ruining the college game. The better teams, the best teams continue to grow and be the quote unquote better team. While the younger, lower schools that are still D1 can't compete and make a run for the money because they're leaving right away to get the better pays at universities such as Duke, North Carolina, the Michigans, things like that. And it's kind of sad. And we coming up to March Madness very soon. Will we see an upset? That's where we go down to. And the MLB is the same situation. We haven't had a lockout in God, not forever. And this is going to be, what a strange story it would be to say that this is the situation that we're dealing with. And, all I could think of is it's the players. I feel bad for the players because they want to play, but they want to get paid. And it's not fair that some of these guys, like, for example, Juan Soto gets almost $700 million. And what has he done for the team so far? Not much. I know certain
Yeah,
guys, I say absolutely they deserve it. Like if you gave that money to Otani, Yamamoto, one of those guys, I'll say 1000% they deserve it. There's no question. They won multiple World Series and they will continue to win more World Series. It's fine. When you have certain guys, for
yeah.
example, like Juan Soto, and a couple other guys that are getting millions of dollars but haven't done much for a team, then you begin to question everything. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look
Eh,
at it.
No, and you're absolutely right because we know these high payrolls like San Diego Padres over the past 5 years have been spending a fortune, and that doesn't guarantee a championship, of course. Um, but it really is, like I said, the money that Kyle Tucker, that was kind of the final nail in the coffin. There is such an imbalance in the payroll structure of Major League Baseball. And unfortunately, like I said, I brought up Tony Clark before. I was going to bring him up in notable in random points, but so there's going to have to be a whole new administration leading. This guy Myers is taking over for Clark for the Players Association, and unfortunately, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah, it will get ugly, and that's just the bottom line. We have
And guess
William
what? Guess
commenting.
what, Eli?
Let me get to
Yeah,
William's comment. I'll get to you. Good morning, fellas. Another lockout. That's sad. These players are asking too much to take away from the fans. 1000%. Couldn't agree more. And what's your point, Jim?
yeah, he's right. I don't blame the players if they can get the money, but it's the only major sport that doesn't have a salary cap, and that's going to be the contentious point in the negotiations because the players don't want it, and I don't even know if these guys get paid after a lockout. So all those little details,
Yeah.
but the bottom line is, and you and I have talked about it 1,000 times,
Yep.
game are outrageous. Maybe this will be a boon for minor league baseball, which I've always advocated as just as good an event to take a family and affordable. So, but we shall see. Love to hear
Absolutely.
comments on this, and
Absolutely.
William is
Yes,
absolutely
of course. And
right.
as a reminder, you can always call in at any time. You could scan the QR code or click on the link in the chats to call in or ask your question to give your thoughts, whatever else.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll love to hear your thoughts.
All right,
All
Eli. So
right.
let's move on.
How
I
about we
think
talk
you
about the
got.
Olympics?
Please do.
Well, let's talk about the Olympics. Well, first off, let's start with the women's because the women's hockey team won gold after defeating Canada 2-1. Megan Keller with the overtime winning goal. What a moment it was for that
It
women's
was.
team. The national anthem sung by everybody, and even the women, and they joined in unity, and that was such an amazing moment. Kenny Albert, what a call by him! If you were watching, if you saw the reel of him and the call, that's a call you love to see. Let the story tell itself, couple words and that's it. That was awesome by Kenny Albert and the crew at NBC. Um,
Yep.
and we're in for a treat tomorrow because 8 o'clock in the morning on NBC, we have Team USA, Team Canada. We have a rematch of what we saw last year at the Four Nations face off, except this time there is no fighting involved. We'll see what the result is for tomorrow. Sidney Crosby, he was out on Friday, so he's likely not going to be in for Sunday. Again, it's not confirmed yet, but he'll likely be out for Sunday and miss the game. But this is interesting. What happens next for both these teams, and who do you think is going to win the gold in the men's side?
Well, listen, it has been exciting as could be, and this is exactly what we were hoping for, a Canada USA final. And unfortunately, Sidney Crosby getting hurt, that's a big loss for Canada
Yes, it is.
because that guy is an absolute winner. And the fact that he didn't play in the semifinal round means he's not playing in the finals because he's still an NHL player, and
Yep.
unfortunately for him, so that kind of takes a little bit of the intrigue out. But they're still loaded, both of these teams, and it's what we've wanted. and I'm
Yeah.
excited to watch it. It's going to be what, tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yes, tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's just gonna be such a great game. And the men have a lot of work to do considering what the women just put up on Thursday. And let me tell you, just to see non-hockey fans, like I've said for a long time already, see non-hockey fans and even just the regular Olympic watchers get into that women's win with the United States. That was so awesome to see. Don't you think that was just like that was pretty cool? Like what a moment that was. Like, and that goal was a goal for sports history. Like it wasn't just your ordinary goal. That was
No,
just a nice move right through and into the net like nothing. It was unbelievable.
yeah,
That's the story like I like to see.
and you brought it up. That was a great call by Kenny Albert, who's done a great job. Him and Eddie Olczyk calling the games. It's what we expected in Olympic
Absolutely.
hockey.
That's what we want to see. And, the entire Olympics have been really exciting, these past couple days. And there's still going to be a lot more. Tomorrow's the last day, the closing ceremony's tomorrow. But I think it was a very successful Winter Olympics. I think my focus on the Olympics was the hockey. And like I said, I think that my next dream job, if I ever go into sports, would be doing curling and mopping the floor. That's my next dream job in sports. If I were ever become a sport athlete, I think that's what I like to do: sweep the
Yeah.
floor at the Olympics curling event. But I think that was really good, though.
Well,
Yeah,
I will tell you this. So overall, and like I said, from an Olympic perspective, there's so many new events that weren't there when I was growing
yeah,
up and so forth, and snowboarding, and I didn't realize there were so many cross country events. And
events.
without question, I mean, they're unbelievable athletes. Cross country skiing is no joke. The cross country for 2 hours,
I could never do that.
but this guy Johans, yeah, this guy Johans Clabo, the first athlete to win 6 gold medals in the Olympics. He won all 6 of the events he was in cross country. So that's called domination. And whether you enjoy it or don't
Absolutely.
enjoy it, you got to give that guy credit. 6 gold medals, unheard of, never happened before.
That's unbelievable. It really is. Um,
Um,
why don't we talk a little bit about the NBA real quick before we move on to our next topic?
well, hold on.
So
I just
okay, go ahead.
before we move on, we got to give credit to Lou, who won the gold medal for the first time for the
Right.
Olympic women's figure skating, and she's a very confident young lady, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for
You
sure.
know? But that hasn't happened since what, 2002? Since when I think Sarah Hughes was the last one to win it.
Yeah.
And one thing I did see, I saw an interview, and this is what I'm talking about, how time flies. Because I remember the Dorothy Hamill gold medal performance in 1976, and that was 50 years ago, and it's just so hard to believe. She was the darling of the Olympics back then, and like I said, it's been exciting. So I guess what, recapping, Eli, Norway has the most medals, and then the U.S. is second.
Yeah.
Um,
They're second
but the
place now.
big
Yeah.
but the big prize is the line
That's
tomorrow.
the big one tomorrow. I mean, that is gonna be such a great morning event. So
Yeah,
since we're gonna be snowed in, likely enjoy the game because we're gonna be able to watch it now.
yeah, I know.
I know.
Who's gonna miss it? I don't know who would miss it. Nobody.
No, I wouldn't know. All
All
right.
right, Eli, take us forward. Where are we going?
All right. So I'm gonna talk about the NBA real quick because last week we had the All-Star game and I was confused, I think, last week than I was before in when it was just a normal regular All-Star game. I think it was just very confusing in my eyes because we had 4 different games all in that one All-Star event. And we had the US World situation, but it was like the US like had 3 different teams and the world had only one team. It kind of made no sense to an extent. Um, it still
Yeah.
racked up more views, 8.8 million views, which is a lot. But I don't think it had that same hype as the NHL did. It's just very sad to see, unfortunately.
Well, I kind of took it the other way, and like I said, my feelings on the NBA right now. But we knew that the All Star game was really nothing more than 3-point practice for both teams, and so the format changing, I think it made it a little bit more appealing. I still wasn't glued to my seat on Sunday to watch it, but I think from an
Absolutely. But
NBA fan perspective, it was better than just having guys shoot 3 points all night. I
no
thought it was
question
an
about it.
improvement.
No question it was definitely improvement. But what made no sense to me is what we saw in the NHL was one single game for the championship. One single game in like a bunch of like four, spread throughout a couple days. The NBA said one day, four different games. Shouldn't it be just one game, one event, not five different games, four different teams? Like, I understand you want to make sure every player gets in the All Star, but if you want to make the All Star quote unquote special, shouldn't the best of the best play for both these teams and call it a day? I mean,
Yeah,
that's just me. I don't think that we need like four different events, four different
yeah.
games and stuff. And next year, the All Stars in Phoenix. We'll see how the NBA changes its format. But it's not like the NHL though, where the NHL we had fights in Four Nations face off last year. The NHL, I mean, keep talking about it because that's something that's not going to be being anytime soon with that event last year.
Yeah. Well, listen. So as far as the NBA goes, so now this is halfway point, and I mean there really are only a handful of teams, and
Yeah.
I brought this up in the beginning of the season when the Knicks fired Thibodeau and hired
Yep.
Mike Brown, and I've said Mike Brown has bounced around from team to team, and he's not the answer, and a lot of the blame is falling on Karl Anthony Towns and can Jalen Brunson carry this team on its back? Well,
Yep.
the past 3 games against the Pistons, who are considered the favorite in the Eastern Conference, I think the Knicks are in trouble. And
Yeah.
if the Knicks don't go to the NBA Finals, they're going to make another change, and it's going to be another Mike Brown in, Mike
Well,
Brown out.
Jim, I hate to tell you this, but what did they just win back in December? Do we remember? What did they win? It was called the NBA Cup. That's what they won. And do we remember something about the NBA Cup who won it the past 3 years? It is a curse in the National Basketball Association, just like it is with the President's Trophy in the NHL. They got that trophy, they won that game. Yeah, they don't have a banner, but now they're cursed in my
I don't
eyes.
know if
So
you could
don't be
really
surprised
get
they don't
into.
win. And I'm sorry to all the Knicks fans. I'm rooting for you guys, but I just know the truth. The truth is that event is a curse. You win it, you're not going to make it to the finals. And sorry, we're seeing it right now.
No. Well, like I said, Jalen Brunson is one hell of a player for sure. Other
Yeah.
than that, you don't know what you're going to get with Towns, and Anunoby has been missing a lot of games and so forth. So it's kind of wide open in the East. But
Yeah.
in the West with the Spurs and the Nuggets, that's going to be a great competition. And like I said, wake me up when the playoffs start.
You got it. All right. We have a caller, Bill Hathaway. He's calling in now, so I'm going to bring him on. Good morning, Bill. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm headed
good,
over.
man.
I'm headed over to Jim's favorite arena, Madison Square Garden.
All right. Where are you at? Penn
Creighton
Station
game.
right now?
I'm actually at the local station here, Orange. I'm actually going to jump on a 9:38 train to Penn Station. Matter of fact, what's crazy about this, man? I just bought my ticket. It was like you only pay one way, bro. What is this? What is it? What are we living? What are we doing? What are we doing? One way Orange. Okay, one way Newark.
Okay.
Yeah. Good morning, Jim. We're heading out to the St. John's game, Creighton
Good.
game today. Then I'm heading over to Prudential, see Seton Hall and Georgetown. You guys were on topic about the NBA. The NBA Cup is a waste of time, a waste of money, and waste of fans. The fans can't even see it because you can't even afford to buy a ticket. Yeah, I think it's a joke. I think the local teams like the Knicks, they're doing well this year. I don't know about the Nets, but I really ain't following college basketball. And basically, um, just basically, we're hitting it all chords. Well, today's Seton Hall game in Georgetown, that's a must win today for Seton Hall and Seton Hall Pirates. And today, big game, Creighton. Let's see if Creighton St. John's could hold their own because they're actually in first place in the Big East. That's kind of a shakeup right now. Seton Hall is like fourth right now, Eli.
Yep,
Fourth,
they're
right?
fourth. Yep.
So Seton Hall's in fourth place. It's like a debacle. Like you got to win today. You got to keep winning to get to the to the big dance in the March. But overall, with the baseball situation, hopefully they work it out. It's unfortunate if they do lock out because we got a lot of Mets fans, Yankee fans in this tri-state area in baseball. And the first preseason game is today. It's on Yes Network.
Yeah. That's
But
right.
other than that,
Well,
everything's good.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. I'm glad you're going to the Garden for the big week. We saw Creighton knock off UConn, and so college basketball.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
that
a
was a
great
big
day,
win. That was a big win.
and this is a great day
Yeah,
for
that was a
college
big
basketball.
win for Creighton.
Yep,
You
you
know
got
what's one of the point guards is out today. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, no, you got great games today. Obviously, you got Arizona and Houston. You got Michigan and Duke, and you
Yep.
got UConn and Villanova. So we covered the NBA enough, but this is the NCAA basketball. We're gearing up, and I appreciate you coming
Yeah.
on and giving us your insight. So get on the train, my friend. Don't be late for the game.
No buffet over here. Buffet
No
in Newark.
buffet.
Okay.
No buffet. Okay. Good
Have
luck
a
getting
great
to
I'll talk
time
to
Newark.
you
in the
guys
Garden
soon, man.
today, Bill.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Safe
Thanks,
travels.
buddy.
All right.
Have fun
All right.
today.
Goodbye.
Be good.
That's an awesome loyalist from a train station. That's pretty cool.
Hey, but I
That
gotta
goes
say,
straight-
William knows his college basketball too.
He does.
So I love having him on.
He doesn't. That just goes to show you for anybody, you can call in from anywhere. You can be like Bill at a train station or at a buffet, and you could still call in at any time. So, just it's always
Eli,
an option.
Yeah. All right, so let's going back to Major League Baseball. So right now we're about 30 days away from opening day, and it's always exciting after the football season. So I'm excited about Major League Baseball getting underway, and hopefully, we're this time next year we're not talking about no baseball at all. So
Absolutely, hopefully not. Yeah.
pitchers and catchers report, and remember we got the World Baseball Classic coming up,
Yes. Which we're going to
to
talk
be
about
quite
that next week,
honest,
I think.
yeah, I'm pretty excited about it actually.
Yeah, and you know what? We were talking about this a lot. I did Shoot TV Hall Zone 2 weeks ago, and one of the teams that I'm looking forward to is Japan. I think Japan has a very stacked roster, and there's definitely a lot of good teams out there. There were like Dominican Republic's in the mix, United States is in the mix. I personally think that Japan's gonna be the better team in this matchup. I think because Yamamoto and Otani, of course, you can't beat those guys, but we're in for an exciting tournament. And again, this is like it's almost like the Olympics and the World Cup. It's an every once in a while thing, like 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it really exciting, and I'm really pumped for it.
And if you look at the U.S. roster, it's pretty good. I mean, you got Judge, you got Skubal, you got great players in this. And to be honest, and I'm not obviously just biased here, but I really think the U.S. has a chance to win this whole thing, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
I don't know about that one, Jim. I don't know about the U.S. winning that one.
Well, we'll talk
That's my hot
about it
take.
as it progresses.
Yeah.
Starts
We'll
in a
talk more
couple
about it
weeks.
next week because that's when these tournaments officially going to start. I believe March 5th is the first day. That's next Friday.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that. Bill says, by the way, Duke beats Michigan, Nova beats UConn, and Seton Hall beats Georgetown. That's his predictions for today. And Brandon says, Japan and Puerto Rico play the best fundamentally and have the most pride. I don't know about pitching depth compared to U.S. or DR.
Yeah, no, this is going to be this is going to be a competitive
Competition.
tournament, and I'm looking forward to it. So
I am too. I'm super
but
pumped.
I don't know if I agree with William that Nova's going to beat UConn today, especially with UConn coming off that loss.
That's what I was just gonna say though. UConn came off that loss, so I mean anything is possible though. I mean these days, especially with the Big East, has just been a strange year. If we think about it, we've had a lot of weird surprises. Nobody's really the best team like right now. Like there's no best team that's going to win the March Madness in my eyes. Look at the UConn loss last week. That was a shock to many people. Nobody saw that one coming. So yeah.
I
And Brendan also,
actually.
go ahead.
Oh God, what's Brendan got?
He says either way, WBC fills a gap that is needed in the sports cycle, and that's absolutely right because we have that big gap between now and March Madness, which is the next major event. So you're absolutely right there.
Yep. But I do disagree with Williams' picks on the day. Actually, I go the opposite on all three of them because I think as much as I like Duke, I've always been a Duke guy. Michigan really looks like the team to beat, and that should be a great game. I think that's at like 6:30 tonight.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with two of the three. I like Duke. I think they're gonna win it. I like Seton Hall in that one, and I think Nova gets an upset with UConn based off their loss. So I agree with Bill on that one.
And there's one other big game though, Arizona, Houston, and those are two great teams as well.
Absolutely.
That's kind of a pick 'em. I'd have to have our professor on, Kenny Backert, who I got to tell you, he's not only a friend of mine, he's a loyal listener to the show, but this guy knows college basketball. And
I'm sure he does.
He does. So as we get closer to March Madness, he's definitely going to be, because I want to hear his picks live on the air. So Kenny, get ready to be on the show in the next couple of weeks, my friend.
All right. So how about we move to some random points?
Take us in.
All right. By the way, that's sponsored by Lynch Toyota, Manchester, Connecticut. So let's kick it all off. First, I begin with this. Ernie Johnson will be taking a step back from March Madness, but not entirely. Ernie announced that he'll host the Final Four and championship games, but not the rest of the tournament. On the other hand, CBS Mornings and CBS NFL analyst Nate Burleson will host to fill in his spots for the rounds on CBS and TNT Sports.
Boy, this guy Burleson's all over the place, huh?
He's trying to be like Ryan Seacrest and Michael Strahan, get 10,000 jobs.
Good call, by the way.
Yeah. ESPN announced Women's Sports Sundays, which will debut this summer. This is going to be its new initiative and plan to promote weekly primetime event to show women's sports. This all comes to replace ESPN's Sunday night MLB package, which they lost. So now women's sports will be taking over that Sunday night baseball slot that ESPN used to have. It'll likely be more WNBA games because that's going to be the women's sport mostly during the summertime. Maybe we'll get softball and other sports, but we'll see more women's sports on Sundays on ESPN.
Okay.
The 49ers have announced that they'll be playing a game in Mexico City next year in addition to Australia. So the 49ers are going international a lot next year. The Dolphins have released Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb. Robert Woods announces his retirement from the NFL. Tyler Reddick won the Daytona 500 this weekend, and Michael Jordan was a team owner, so he also won. So Michael Jordan just can't stop winning from the NBA to now winning a NASCAR race. That's pretty cool.
You took one of my random points away because I was going to bring that up as well.
And I got a couple more too. Don't worry. The daytime talk show landscape has been changing, but in some good news, the Jennifer Hudson show has been renewed for another season. And I think the key to their success and for another season is the viral Spirit Tunnel singing and dancing intro walks. It's been all over social media lately. And I think that's what's gaining its popularity. A couple other notes. Yesterday,
as far as the daytime talk show, as much as I want to retire from everyday life, I don't know if I could sit at home and watch these crazy daytime shows. I just can't do it.
One show I will watch is Kelly and Mark. And speaking of Kelly and Mark, yesterday Kelly Ripa celebrated 25 years of hosting her talk show live. She started with Regis back 25 years ago, before the co-hosts became Michael Strahan, Ryan Seacrest, and now Mark Consuelos. They both started, of course, on All My Children, if you don't know. She's been with the Walt Disney Company for that long, and she also set the Guinness World Record for longest career hosting a morning talk show for a female. That's pretty amazing if you think about it. What a run if you think about it. And she still has a show going strong, and I still watch it every morning when I can.
Oh, I know you have a personal stake in that show. You were on the show.
Of course, yes. Couple other notes. Here are some important days and holidays that we need to know for the next couple of days. We're 24 days away from the start of March Madness and St. Patrick's Day. We're 33 days away from MLB opening day, 43 days away from Easter Sunday, 47 days away from the Masters, 56 days away from the start of the NBA and NHL playoffs, and 61 days away from the NHL draft, from the NFL draft. So much happening within the next 60 days. So buckle up because we're in for a crazy couple of months up ahead. And
Good.
lastly, the Walt Disney Company and Pixar released the trailer for Toy Story 5 this week, which will hit theaters on June 19th. I'm pumped about it. And what stood out to me from the trailer is we have technology overcoming the toys, which is going to be the focal point of the movie. We have the Forky getting a wedding. If you know the character Forky, he's getting married, it looks like, based off the trailer, which I think that's exciting. And lastly, Woody returns, but he has a bald spot now. He's showing his age in this movie, which I think that sparked the whole like world, as you could say. I mean, because nobody thought we would see Woody with a bald spot. I mean, this early on. I mean, I'm super excited for the film to come out, and that just made me really more excited. And Tom Hanks and Tim Allen also return in the film.
Well, I will tell you this. So I think I've seen Toy Story. I haven't seen 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I gotta maybe with a snowstorm I could binge watch all the Toy Stories. So Toy Story.
I'm surprised you haven't seen like with your kids or nothing when they were younger. No.
Yeah.
The first movie came out, what, I think the 90s?
My kids are a little bit older.
I'm surprised you didn't get to see that one at least.
Yeah,
Well, that's true too. I thought they were,
I'll catch up on
but still,
it.
the movie was in the 90s. All right, yeah. You'll catch up on it. Bill Hathaway says USA beats Canada. I'm going with Canada beating the US. Sorry. I'm going to be honest. I've just been a fan of Canada in the men's side all along. And Brenda says, Woody can go to Turkey and get a hair transplant. I'll take him and make the series more fun. Okay. Jim, it's all yours.
You know, I did know that you were going to bring something up about it because you're Joe Disney as far as.
Well, I've
show
been a
goes.
big Toy Story fan my whole life. I've always liked the Toy Story
No
franchise.
doubt, no, great franchise, no doubt. And as far as who's going to win that game tomorrow, yeah, this is kind of it. It's kind of a toss-up, and I think that Sidney Crosby loss might tip the balance and give it to the U.S. So you're going with Canada. I'm going with the U.S. So I'm just looking forward to a great game. Yep.
So Bill and Jim, they're going U.S. I'm going Canada. Anybody else who wants to comment, let us know who you think wins. Let us know. But Jim, it's all yours with random points. Take it away.
Okay, well, you took away my Daytona 500 because that was actually, it was I think only the second time the guy that won the race, Tyler Reddick, didn't lead for one lap in the entire race until the final lap. And we saw what happens. There was a whole lot of chaos and a big crash at the end and so forth. So, and you brought it up, Michael Jordan. I mean, the guy just keeps everything he touches turns to gold.
It's pretty hilarious if you think about it.
Yeah. So I also, like I said, this is a good time for me because we're going to be wrapping up the West Coast swing of the start of the PGA Tour season, and I think you mentioned the Masters is about 47 days away, which is always one of my favorite events in sports. But this Pebble Beach tournament last week, the AT&T Pro-Am, Colin Morikawa wins his first tournament in 3 years, and I really like this kid. This could be the start of his comeback because he won those two majors early in his career, and he's kind of been mediocre and so forth since then. So that was a great tournament. And again, we keep talking about the number one player in the world, Scottie Scheffler. He was like 11 shots off the lead, and then it comes Saturday, he shoots a 63, and he was right in the mix, finishes in the top 5. The guy's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's really some story you had from getting arrested to.
Yeah. But I did want to, and I kind of briefly mentioned it earlier because I did have my picture. Remember, we posted on the show with Tony Clark, and this whole controversy is just confusing to me. I mean, not only it was this is indiscretions or whatever the story was with his family members, but there's also allegations of monies that was allocated by the players union for other charitable functions which never seemed to have made it to where the money was supposed to go. So this is a big deal, and I'm glad that it came out now, so we didn't have any kind of confusion when the negotiations start. But this was kind of so. But I just want to know I'm not involved. Just because I had my picture with Tony on the show doesn't mean I'm involved in any of this indiscretion. So,
Okay,
so
thank
those
you
are
for the
my
clarification.
random.
Thanks for the clarification. We appreciate that.
I appreciate it.
Time now for what's your recommendation and the photo segment. That's me, sponsored by Vital Selections. You can scan the QR code to learn more. My recommendation for the week is, well, we got USA Canada tomorrow, and it's only fitting that I recommend Miracle to watch. I mean, while we wait for the snow, while we wait for the game, gotta watch the movie Miracle because that's what defines a hockey game. That's for sure.
Yep. And the thing is, I obviously the difference in what made that 1980 team, and remember they won the gold in Salt Lake City in 1960 as well.
Yep,
But these weren't NHL players, and
that's correct.
so those were amateurs. That's what makes that victory. And like I said, all of those team members made a living off this for the past 46 years, and congratulations to them because they earned it. But yeah, that's it's a great movie if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely.
So I do have a movie recommendation too, because as we're going to touch base in notable passings, there was a big loss in Hollywood, and I've stated it many times that this was one of my favorite actors. But the movie that really solidified him not only was, I mean, the guy did everything, right? The Godfather and so forth. But there is a movie that he made called The Great Santini. And if you haven't seen that, that'll give you an indication of what kind of a great actor Robert Duvall was. And it's just an outstanding movie. And I would highly, kind of a military movie. He plays this hot-headed pilot and so forth, but it's funny, and it's just indicative of what kind of character actor this guy was. So that's my recommendation.
All right, let's take a look at some photos.
Okay. Well, this photo, and I know Diego is watching the show today, but this is our resident soccer expert. It's a very special day for him. His daughter got married, so he doesn't look so bad in a tuxedo. His daughter looks beautiful. So what a special day for Diego and his
awesome.
family. And,
Congratulations.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we noted that for sure in the picture segment. Beautiful picture. And that's my grandson who turned 12 years old. It's hard to believe because I've been putting pictures of this young man on the show for many years, and now he's 12 years old and just growing into a fine young man. And I'm so happy for him. Look how happy he is on his birthday. And I think we have one more other picture.
That looks like a chocolate chip pancake, which also looks really good. Shout out to the show.
Yes. And like I said, that's him with his sister and his little brother, Hayden and Hudson. So Logan, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Love you to death, pal. Love you to death.
Yeah. Yes. Comment from Scarface: USA tomorrow. And he doesn't like the Canucks. So
okay. Well, listen, we have to. Listen, Scarface, we have to put our biases aside. It's going to be a great hockey game. It's what everybody wanted, and I'm going with the U.S., but Eli's going with Canada. So we'll see how it plans out.
He says, "Proud GP, go Jimmy." Good morning, guys. Great recommendations from Andrew, and he also says from Scarface, great show.
Yeah, I know he's seen that. Yeah, for sure. Yes. Thanks, Scarface.
Okay. All right. So time for notable passings. I guess I'll start because I have three that I believe you don't have one or something, so I'll kick it off.
Okay.
Of course, as Jim mentioned, Academy Award-winning actor Robert Duvall has passed away at the age of 95. He was born in 1931. Many great movies he had. Eric Dane from Grey's Anatomy has passed away at the age of 53 after losing his battle to ALS. He was born in 1972. What a shame, though.
Yeah,
ALS and all the
one of
battles
the
are
more terrible diseases to go. It's terrible.
absolutely. And Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away at the age of 84. He was born in 1941, an iconic civil rights activist and icon.
No question about that. And yeah, just to recap, and you mentioned Robert Duvall, 95 years old. But what a storied career. And of all of his great performances, he only won one Oscar for Best Actor in Tender Mercies. But his resume is really, it's hard to top. It's amazing. He was one of my favorite actors. I'm saddened by his loss.
Absolutely.
And we can't deny the impact that Jesse Jackson had in the civil rights thing and so forth. So, we kind of knew he was in failing health over the past couple of years. But when you think about, what he's done and so forth, presidential candidate, not once, but twice, that's a big loss for civil rights advocates for sure.
You have the rest, I believe?
Yeah, I got a couple more from the world of sports and a personal one as well. So,
of course,
Trey Johnson, former Washington Commanders offensive lineman, 31st pick out of Temple when he came out into the NFL. He was only 54 years old, so you're a fan, you know who he is and was. Doug Moe. Doug Moe was an All-American at North Carolina and longtime NBA coach, had stops with the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Sixers, highly respected. He was 87 years old. Had a great record, made a good run with the Denver Nuggets back in their heyday, but never won an NBA championship. So that's a big loss. And then here's one. Mike Wagner. Now, I know Eli won't know who Mike Wagner is, but I certainly do because he was a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the vaunted Steel Curtain defense. And he was a defensive back, and he did win. He was a member of those 4 Super Bowl teams that won. He was 76 years old and in the Steelers' Ring of Honor, rightfully so, had a couple of big interceptions in a couple of the Super Bowls. So, from a Pittsburgh Steeler perspective, you know who Mike Wagner is, and I always reflect back on that, and I bring it up time and time again. The old Sunoco stamp book that Stephen and I used to collect, and Mike Wagner was in that book. Good football player, not Hall of Fame, but he had a great career. And from a personal perspective, one of my dear friends, Jeff Faber, lost his brother, Tommy.
Oh, wow.
And, Tommy was 68 years old. And I think both Andrew and I will be attending this service today. But Tommy was a very nice guy, comes from a great family. And that's a big loss for Jeff. And I want to send out all my best to
my condolences to you and his family and to everybody. Wow. What a shame.
Yeah, it is, Eli. Yeah.
We do have a couple comments to end on a positive note. We have William Hathaway. He says, Red Bulls will be starting their regular season today against Orlando. Scarface says he's not a fan of Tom Wilson. And
no. Well, Tom Wilson, let me just mention that. I mean, yes, he is he is known as a fighter, but he's also became a good player. Very similar. I take his career. I look at like Craig Berube when Craig Berube came up. Craig Berube was a fighter, and then he became, a pretty decent hockey player. So that's kind of the way Wilson's career has gone. And so when you think about guys like that, Rocket also another tough scrapper in the NHL and became a very good hockey player. And by
Yeah.
the way, Greg Berube won the Stanley Cup as head coach of the St. Louis Blues.
Yes, he did.
Might not know that. So Eli,
What a
we
great
got
show.
a lot of stuff going on this week. So if you're
We
a
do.
basketball fan, Olympic fan, it's just a great weekend. And
More importantly, we got a big
you said,
hockey game tomorrow. That's
yeah,
more
there's a
important.
hockey game.
That's a big game tomorrow. And good luck to everybody with the snow. It could be nothing. It could be the worst storm we've ever seen of our lives. So I just want to wish everybody good luck. Stay safe. And stay home if you can.
Well, I also wanted to touch base on that because we just came off one of the worst storms we've had in years.
We're about to
like
get another one, my friend.
2 weeks ago. So at least it's not going to be like the below zero temperatures, at least that we had. So,
Well, not yet. Just stand by, Jim. Don't worry. It's coming. Don't worry.
but listen, again, I just like to thank all of our loyal listeners and Bill and our guests that come on the show. I thought Tom from Dublin was going to be on the show. Didn't see him.
I think maybe because we had the
but,
10 o'clock. We didn't have the 10 o'clock. Maybe he'll be back next week when we have 10 o'clock again.
Yeah, he's out in California, so he did get to
That's
sleep
true.
in an extra hour this time. But
Hey.
so I do love when we get comments from you guys, and like I said, we get comments at our email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. Interaction, that's what we want, and tell your friend, and love to hear them join the show. And we're very grateful to our audience for joining us every Saturday at this time. It's great. I love it.
All right, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you all next Saturday at 10 o'clock. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great day. Hey, good luck with the snow.
Okay, Eli, you too.
Bye, everyone.
Be good.